Mark Rogers TV talking Arizona football. The Wildcats get it on with UCLA at the Rose Bowl this weekend. We bring in Shireen Ryan from Zona Zealots. She is our contributor, our authority on Arizona football, and she is so excited. Let me read this before we get going here because it was a historic performance from Khalil Tate, Pac-12 Player of the Week, National Player of the Week from many publications. 12 of 13 passing, 154 through the air, 1 touchdown, no interception. So that's a great passing line. Tremendous. Right. Only threw 13, but completed 12, no interceptions. But that's not even the big deal. He ran for 327 yards on 14 carries and 4 touchdowns.
Averaged like 23 yards a carry.
Wow.
I think one of them was a 78-yard run. And let's not forget that one of the passes was 60 yards.
So I went to the ESPN recap of the game, and the very first line in the recap was from Mike McIntyre, the Colorado head coach, who said sometime during the game, or maybe this was something he just continued to yell on the sidelines, will somebody please tackle this guy?
Yeah. He's not the only one. You know, we were talking to Jim Mora on the Pac-12 teleconference call for the coaches. He was saying the same thing. Like, it's very hard to defend against him. Khalil started in the second half of the game last season in the Rose Bowl, and he actually got 2 touchdowns, starting deep in the UCLA territory as well. So Khalil performed well against UCLA last season. We didn't win the game because we were already in the hole. But, yeah, so if there's any team that he may have their number, it could be UCLA, definitely. But the thing about this performance was he didn't just rush. He would see the play not go a certain way, and then he would roll out like he did in high school, like I've been saying for the last 2.5 years. I've been telling you about this kid. And he would run around the side, around the corner, get a key block from somebody, and then accelerate, like through 5 people. You have to go watch the highlights. Like 1 or 2 times, he just kind of ran through 6 people. And then at the end, one of the touchdowns, he had the ball, and it looked like they were trying to get it out of his hands. Somehow he kept his feet moving and kept going, and then ended up in the end zone. So it wasn't just rushing touchdowns. You've got to watch these plays. Find the Pac-12 highlights, and your jaw will drop. That I predicted it. Nobody else in Tucson. I was the one who kept saying this guy's going to be great. So let's hope he continues against UCLA.
You did talk him up. There's no question about that. And
got tired of it, right?
Couldn't believe that I wasn't informed on Khalil Tate's exploits last Saturday night. I was watching Pac-12 football. I was watching 2 games at the same time, just not Arizona taking on Colorado. So I'm looking at Brandon Dawkins and his contributions this season. He's performed reasonably well. He's at 62%, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He did turn the ball over against Utah in a winnable game, a game that the Cats could have won. And he ran for 133 in one of his Pac-12 games. Let's see, actually, that was the UTEP game. He ran for 133, but he only threw 1 pass. He carried the ball 4 times against Colorado. So what is the quarterback situation? Is this Khalil Tate's and he is running with it? Pardon the pun.
I really don't. First of all, no one's talking about Arizona football, which is why you haven't heard about it, I think. You know, we were projected to be last in the Pac-12 South and have just as many wins as last season. Well, we're already at 3-2, so we've already matched last season's wins. So it's gravy from now on, right? But back to your question. Dawkins is great. He's a great athlete. He very dynamic. He can also rush for many. In fact, he had the most rushing yards of any Pac-12 quarterback last season. I believe he ranked #1 of all the quarterbacks. But the problem, and he's more textbook is what I hear. But with Brandon, I think the problem is like he left a tight end wide open for a touchdown while he was running to the right, and he couldn't get the ball off to who he was going to pass to. So I think part of it is passing accuracy. But he's a phenomenal athlete. We all want to see both of them on the field. It would be nice, but it looks like you can't really, when you break all those records at 18 and the whole world's got their jaw on the ground, I don't think Rich Rod can go back and say, all right, well, I'm going to start Brandon. And if he did, it'd probably throw off the other coach. So I wouldn't put it past Rich Rod to play more than one quarterback. He warned me. I asked him early in the season, and he said he'll play whatever quarterback he wants to play whenever he wants to play him. So I'd like to see a 2-quarterback play in this game. That would be fun.
Whoever the quarterback is, he's the guy running the ball for this offense. So J.J. Taylor is the top running back rushing the football out of that position, but he's third on the team in rushing. So Brandon Dawkins was leading the team in rushing before this past game. Khalil Tate only had about 75 yards, but he had limited action. He wasn't starting. And then he has the monster game, and he's running for 400 and some yards. And then you got Brandon Dawkins around 350. J.J. Taylor, Nick Wilson, I don't know what happened to him because he was a star when he walked on campus and getting most of the playing time early in his career, but he has seemed to faded back into the running back rotation.
Well, he's still running the ball. So J.J. Taylor's still running the ball. He's still running the ball. But the thing is that without J.J. Taylor blocking and Shun Brown, the wide receiver, blocking, Khalil doesn't get those yards. Without the offensive line doing what they need to do, Jacob Alsadek, and Colin Schuler on defense. And I mean, there's so many freshmen out there right now who are lifting up the team on both sides of the ball. But without these people, without Nathan Eldridge, the center, doing his job, and Jacob Alsadek doing his job, and then down the field, there was one run where Shun Brown takes out the first guy and J.J. Taylor takes out the second guy. So without everybody doing their job, Khalil doesn't get all those yards. So I would say they're playing more like a team. The young guys have rallied around Khalil, and maybe they're playing up a little more now. When he wasn't in, he was rushing up and down the sideline, getting all the players involved and not giving up, and really, truly trying to be a leader on this team. So I think that because the team is predominantly young, they may relate a little better to Khalil, but I think the whole team's behind him now, and the coaches as well.
Shireen Ryan joining us from Zona Zealots to talk up the Wildcats as they head to the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. Coming up,
they're coming here. They're going to Tucson.
Oh, the game's in Tucson.
Game's in Tucson. I'm flying out.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm flying out tonight. You know what happened last time they came to Tucson?
Explain that to us. I do know. I remember the conversation we had.
I was mad about it. Okay, what happened last time was, Arizona comes out to fireworks, the band's playing, everybody's all hyped up. And last year, Mora ran his team out at the same time as Arizona ran out, thus not getting the boos that, the big crowd had. It's always it was game day, I think, that time too. So Mora better not run out his team at the same time. And the next thing he does is try to take out the quarterback. I don't think it's a fluke. The last 3 to 5 games, I could even go back 10 games. Somehow they always take out our quarterback. Somehow.
In 10 consecutive years?
I mean, Matt Scott, BJ Denker, like maybe Nick Foles was the only one who wasn't taken out. But, Brandon Dawkins last year, or at the Rose Bowl. Yeah. So, I mean, it almost seems like a new Solomon got taken out the year before in Tucson. I was there. Like, every single time in the first half, the quarterback gets majorly injured and another quarterback comes in. Luckily, we have 2 starting quarterbacks, so we should be okay.
The pregame standoff doesn't surprise me. Jim Mora is a pretty cantankerous individual.
Yeah, he's an NFL coach.
He doesn't want to be upstaged. Nope.
But that's ridiculous. Like, we would never do that to them. But it doesn't matter. It is what it is. I think we have a good chance against UCLA. I even think we're favored by 2.5, unless that's changed. You might want to look that up.
You might be. I haven't looked it up. I will be making my predictions here sometime in the next several hours, but I've yet to look up the line on this game. That doesn't surprise me. I would think it would be a pretty close spread, and with Arizona at home, 2.5-point favorite. Wow,
so
you're on the favorite status in the Pac-12.
So I said that you never know what's going to happen, right? But the fans haven't necessarily been that supportive so far in the season. But now, after this weekend, after Khalil's performance, and after the whole team stepped up, the defense had 4 sacks, after all that, I think there's going to be seats in the fannies in the seats. Let's say this weekend. I know alumni are coming in. Paul Maglory and Jeff Worthy, at least they're coming in. So there's going to be alumni in the crowd. There's a lot of recruits are coming. Basketball recruits, football recruits. This is usually the game where all the recruits come. So I predict it's going to be a full stadium at 6 o'clock tomorrow night.
Well, according to the Vegas sports books, the composite here, Arizona did open as a 2-point favorite, but the betting money has been on UCLA, and the Bruins have swung to a 2 to 2.5 point favorite. So the betting public is not giving your Wildcats, for it to swing 4.5 points isn't giving your Wildcats much of a chance, or they just consider that to be a value play to take UCLA with a couple points. So it swung to the Bruins at 2.5.
Okay. Well, they know that the Bruins always take out our quarterback, so. But I would never.
That must be it. They've done their homework.
Maybe last year you could bet against the Wildcats. This year they have a new energy. There's a lot of desperation. Not with the players. The players truly believe they can win games. They're in there trying to prove themselves as freshmen. So I got Tony Ellison, Tony Fields. You got all these guys just stepping in. Colin Schuler. You got Scotty Young. Scotty Young is like killing it on the tackles. Like all of a sudden, who's got the most tackles? Scotty Young. Who's tackling against Scotty Young? I was in the booth against Utah. I kept pointing out Scotty's name. I mean, it's refreshing to see these guys step up like that.
So you did mention some of the pictures that you take and post on social media and on Twitter in particular, and I've caught some of those. Oh. And you're looking for a bigger crowd, because I have noticed that you have drawn a lot of comments from the people saying, hey, where's anybody at these games? And then you've said, okay, well, this was 45 minutes before the game, but still. And then I've seen you tweet, this section filled up, that section filled up, and but there were some sparse sections, or nobody was in the upper deck, or whatever the case might be. So do UCLA and USC, I would expect, outside of the Arizona State game, that they would draw the most people typically.
Well, I think that if last week didn't happen, they may not. But it is parent weekend, so there'll definitely be more parents with their kids in the stands, whereas before it's a Zona Zoo, so everybody goes to be with their friends. But, I'm going to be sitting with my Wildcat and a Wildcat alumni, my other daughter, so all of us are sitting in the stands. So that you got parent weekend, you got a winning record, you got Khalil coming on strong and his team coming on strong. And, I mean, even like I told you, Coach Vincini, the Arizona Wildcats legendary women's coach, she was just telling me at Pac-12 Media Days, where she works for Pac-12 now, she was just telling me she's never seen anything like it. And she just went and bought season tickets. So I have a feeling the coaches will be there from the other sports. This will be the game that everybody comes to. And if it's either goes well or it doesn't.
Well, if you start to win more games, then you get the ESPN, ESPN2, and the Fox Sports 1 and Fox slots in the late night for us folks on the East Coast, and you get off the Pac-12 network so I can actually watch the games.
Right, exactly. Well, this one starts at 9, and I don't know if it's on ESPN or not, but
I believe it is.
I would think it is because of, just the game's always a good one, and because of last weekend. And now you're educated. I schooled you.
You sure did. We can't let that out, though, Shireen. People need to know and think that I know everything about college football. That one slipped right by me.
Well, at least you were smart enough to pick up the phone and want to talk to me. So
I did. I must have had some kind of intuition that I needed some info from you.
You didn't see all those retweets, Khalil this, Khalil that, Khalil this. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
I had to sleep at some point. I had to get to bed. All right, Shireen Ryan from Zona Zealots. Anything in particular we can find there on your website right now? And what else do you have going? I know that you've got like 18 other things going right now.
So I have my show In the Front Row, so that you can find that at inthefrontrow.com or on YouTube /InTheFrontRow. We interview high school, college, pro. We do a lot of different things. We now have 4 or 5 hosts. We cover the entire Drew League the whole summer with NBA stars. We got some interviews out there for that. And yeah, I was on a TV show called Going Rogan but it didn't work out too well because the Las Vegas shooter preempted the show. But yeah, I'm getting out there more and enjoying myself. Covering the South Bay Lakers coming up here soon.
Shireen Ryan loves her Zona Zealots, loves her Wildcats.
That's right.
Writes for Zona Zealots.
Right.
And Shireen, we always appreciate the discussion. It's always fun. Always love having you on here. And I know that you probably don't get this, but I would love to have you on each and every week. But I try to cover everyone, and it's
hard.
Just not always possible. But I want you on here as much as possible talking Arizona football. So if they can win a little bit more, we'll make that happen.
Okay, let's go. Go Cats. Beat the Bruins. Take out their quarterback, the chosen one.
All right, Shireen, enjoy the game.
Okay, thanks. Bear down.